My name is Lee, and I am with Atlanta Veg Fest. I'm the executive director, and this is our first in a series of just really cool Zoom interviews with great vegan people. I hope you enjoy it. We have Kevin and Laura from Vegan RV with us today. And they have been traveling around in an RV, doing the RV life since September 2016. Is that right, guys?
Yeah, it's been crazy.
It's been crazy.
Yeah.
We've known each other a long time. I was thinking we were just talking about like how long that's been. Over 15 years that I've known both of you guys from the Atlanta vegan community and beyond.
Oh, yeah.
So we're all old vegans.
Yes.
And
more ways than one.
More ways than one.
That's awesome.
And you guys have been docked for a couple months here in a suburb of Atlanta, right? Like you've been here for a while.
Yeah, hanging out in a parking lot. It's not our most favorite camping, but
yeah,
it works.
Yeah, well, with everything going on, we're happy to have a safe place to stay. Because a lot of people who full-time in RVs are having trouble getting into campgrounds because a lot of them closed, and we think it's safer. It's been safer to just stick in one place where we can, self isolate rather than keep moving from place to place to place to place.
Yep.
That's good. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are able to stay put for a little while, even though it's probably pretty boring.
Yeah, the parking lot's not. Yeah, the parking lot's not the most beautiful place to be, but it works.
Yeah, gets the job done.
Gets the job done. So what does shopping look like for you right now? If I know we're not supposed to be in the stores that much, but you don't have a lot of space in the RV as far as refrigerator and freezer and.
No, I don't. And so luckily, because we are parked at a, can I say where we are, Kevin?
Well, we're parked at my work.
Yes. So we have access to the building, which means we also have access to a refrigerator and freezer. And since it's closed, the people that work there aren't using it.
Yeah.
So I do have a little bit of overflow in there that I'm trying not to use too much. I'm going to the store every 2 weeks. And I just have to kind of think about fresh versus, canned and frozen, and make all that work together to make food for 2 weeks, basically.
And you do a good job.
Woo.
And take out every once in a while, right? We're around some good restaurants.
But we haven't really been that much. We've had pizza a couple times, and we've had Vegan a few times. But we're not doing it more than once, maybe twice a week.
Yeah.
So.
That's good. What speaking of cooking, what's the easiest thing to make in the RV?
Ooh.
Water. Filtered water.
Do you make water, Kevin?
You never know.
Everybody makes
astronauts do. They make their own water.
I made water.
I aside from for breakfast every morning we have oatmeal, which is 3 minutes in the microwave for each of us.
Yeah, it's not prepackaged, so
No,
she does it it's literally the steel cut oats.
Not steel cut, old fashioned.
Old fashioned, just kidding. So strike that.
Yeah.
She cuts up dates for the sweetness.
Mm-hmm.
And then water, and then you microwave it, and then we add in I'll put some hemp protein powder in mine, some matcha, cinnamon, turmeric, blueberries, and walnuts.
Yeah.
It's literally what we have every morning, unless it's I complained too much the night before, and then she's
pancakes.
"Fine, I'll make pancakes." So
Sounds very
I'm usually pretty good about that, right?
But yeah, that's super easy. It doesn't heat up the RV. And the ingredients mostly are easy to keep around. So that's why it's had such longevity as a good breakfast for us.
And then when it's hot outside, we actually do overnight oats.
Mm-hmm.
So she'll do that with peanut butter and blueberries and stuff. And then
and then other than for other meals, other than super simple, like burgers. Like we still get burgers. Honestly, the Boca turkey burgers have kind of become our go-to for quick meals.
They're super low calorie compared to like all the rest of them. Like their sodium and fat content are less than the other ones. So we typically go with that, and then like a baked potato, sweet potato.
Yeah, so
microwave potato. I shouldn't say baked.
Yeah, so that's the other thing I do is I usually have some sweet potatoes and or russet potatoes around, and scrub them up, poke them with holes, stick them in the microwave, and they're ready in like 4 or 5 minutes. So I like things like that I can cook one off. Don't make leftovers to fill up the fridge. And
I would say like whenever you cook something more intense, right, that takes a lot more prep, she usually makes enough so that there are leftovers, so we make 2 meals out of it, so she's not like cooking like super nice meals like every night. So we'll kind of split that up.
And that was the next thing I was going to say is I lean a lot on the Instant Pot.
Thing is awesome
because I can just throw a bunch of stuff in there and turn it on, and then 15 minutes later it's a meal. I like to make chilies in there, like Indian dolls and different things like that.
Rice.
I've been wanting an Instant Pot, but like I'm a little scared of it because it's a pressure cooker. I'm scared I'm gonna blow something up. Tell me about that.
Because it's an electric pressure cooker, so it handles all the if it gets too much pressure, it'll automatically release some. I've never had a problem with it, never, which is awesome.
You kind of have to be patient with it because you have to let it depressurize itself or cool down or something.
Well, you can, because
you always tell me, you're like, don't touch that. That's a lot of things in the RV, not just the Instant Pot. So like I wouldn't put that against the Instant Pot. I'm just saying,
Kevin, don't touch stuff. Just don't touch it.
Yeah, exactly. Walk around with mittens like this.
Back in the day, I used to have stovetop pressure cookers, and those were a little bit sketchier, just because it's really hard to regulate the temperature on your stove to make sure that it's at the right temperature. And it also has a automatic pressure release, but it's a little more unnerving. But with the new electric pressure cookers, it's all
it's built-in timers. It's like the whole 9 yards.
Self-contained and easy, and I mean, literally the worst thing that's going to happen is that it's going to make a mess. And I haven't really heard. I mean, I'm sure one's blown up on somebody, but they probably did something stupid. I don't know. I haven't really heard of it.
Yeah, I mean, we've never had a problem in here. Knock on wood. The couple of the cool things that she does this layered cooking inside of the Instant Pot. So she has like the individual containers, and she'll make a whole meal. So like one of them will like the bottom thing will be like beans or rice or something. Yeah.
So I learned this technique from Kathy Hester, and like in the back of her Instant Pot cookbook, she has a whole section about doing this, but. Basically you just get these little steel steamer container kind of things, and you can stack them in the Instant Pot. So like there'll be the thing that cooks the longest will be in the bottom, and then the middle time in the middle, and then on top the least amount of time. So you might have beans and rice and kale, right?
That's really clever. Now I'm going to have to get one. That sounds cool.
But you also have like that silicone, like the lift thing. What do you call that?
Oh, a trivet.
A trivet? Yeah. But you usually cook something that's not in the containers in the bottom.
Yeah, so there'll be 2 containers. Like there'll be maybe there's a doll in the bottom, and then there's another one she has in that cookbook. There's a doll in the bottom, and you throw the trivet on top. So it's just like water and split peas or whatever. And then the middle one is root vegetables. We usually have beets. And then the top one will be a rice.
Man, see, she was going for the wrong one. She does one that's
Oh, the breakfast one?
Yeah, the breakfast one. It's like tofu scramble, kale,
Yeah.
and what's the other thing? Potatoes, yeah.
Or grits.
Yeah, that's
grits. That's what's in the bottom.
Yeah, I mix them all around. So, she has some set recipes in the book, but I kind of mix and match some of them. So, like grits or potatoes, or there's a maple glazed tempeh.
That one's good too.
It's really good. Anyway.
And then it's cool. She does it.
Hester's Instant Pot book, you said, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, and so when she does it, it's just like all self-contained, so there's not a bunch of stuff on the counter. Like she doesn't have a bunch of pots and pans. I mean, you have to clean the individual things, but
it's kind of a mess to clean up a little bit in the RV, but I don't know. Just having it all in one space instead of trying to cook a bunch of things on the stove makes it a lot easier.
So back to the original question, what's your go-to meal that you cook? I'm just kidding.
Oatmeal, you answered that.
Yeah, I would say,
Well,
that's the go-to breakfast one.
Yeah.
I would say you really do switch it up. Like every time she goes to the grocery store, she makes this huge list. I can't read it. She writes like chicken scratch. It's craziness. Like sometimes she even looks at it and she goes, maybe, right? But she makes Laura's always the type that doesn't like to eat the same thing twice in a row.
Yeah.
I literally could live off veggie burgers, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm not picky. Do I like variety? Yes, but I'm not against having the same thing constantly. But she makes sure that like almost every meal that we eat is totally different. Like I don't think I eat the same thing twice in a month. It's crazy. Like she's always like trying to cook something new or make a variation on something that we'll
I'm
eat.
also trying to make new things to share with people, so trying out new ideas. And
you don't want to be the tofu scramble lady.
I mean, there are worse things.
I could be a tofu scramble lady. That'd be all right.
We should make a song about that. Tofu scramble ladies.
So, like, having the Instapot and cooking in the RV makes me think of, like, space restrictions and how, like, for someone like me who just has a kitchen full of accoutrements, like, how hard that would be to kind of pare down. And you guys have been doing this for, like, 3.5, close to 4 years. And what a lot of people in Atlanta probably remember is that you have a history of being the owners of Dough Bakery, which was one of our favorite spots in Atlanta, or the favorite.
I miss that place. I miss the breakfast biscuits.
Yeah. And so, you used to be here. You used to have a house full of accoutrement as well.
Yeah.
And what did you do to like pare down enough to do the RV life sufficiently?
Oh man.
It was, so when we first started out, I'd say we lived in the house, but we still had the RV. So what we would do is we would go out camping, and we knew we were moving into the RV. So what we would do is go camping. If we needed something, it got brought into the RV. We didn't fill up the RV with anything in the beginning. It was only like, if you need it, you bring it into the RV and then it doesn't leave, right? So because we started transitioning more into living in the RV, we would just leave more and more stuff here until we really didn't need stuff. And then you realize how much you really don't need. And you go, okay, do I need 6 wooden spoons, really? Yeah. So you find things out like that, but I would say Laura's more the kitchen person. I'm more the eater.
Yeah, the kitchen was hard because like I had 2 crock pots. I had 2 stovetop pressure cookers. I had a rice cooker. I had a Vitamix.
Oh, the Zorjuishi.
Yeah.
That thing was the greatest. Zorjuishi or something like that.
Yeah, I had a Japanese rice cooker that was...
It like played Hello Kitty theme songs when it was done, and like it was the greatest thing outside of the Instant Pot. Now the Instant Pot's kind of taken over.
Well, that's the thing. So, when I got the Instant Pot while we were still in the house, I was like, okay, this needs to replace these other things.
Both crock pots, the rice cooker.
I find that I don't slow cook. I don't slow cook at all in the RV.
Because we can fast cook.
Yes, exactly. Why would you slow cook when you can fast cook? Also,
that needs to be a t-shirt. Instant Pot. Why slow cook when you can fast cook? Right?
But like leaving something on in the RV for 6 or 8 hours while you are here or not doesn't seem like a good idea, just for all purposes. But so like we sold the Vitamix, which was a sad thing because it's giant. I mean, you know, giant. Yeah, exactly. And I started off with a NutriBullet, which worked pretty well for,
I'd say, like 2 years.
Yeah, for about 2 years, but then the motor gave out.
Nothing.
And I think that was my fault.
Motor-wise, you know.
Yeah, I think I washed it.
He poured some liquid in it, or I don't know.
Yeah, I did something bad. It was me. I'll take
Kevin, you're not supposed to touch stuff.
I did, dude. I'm telling you. See, that's what happens. That's why I get yelled at in the RV.
But yeah, so I don't have crock pots. I don't have the stovetop pressure cookers. I got rid of my stand mixer. So I do have a little hand mixer, but I don't even use that very much because I don't bake much in here. But
I know, feel bad for me, everybody, please.
But when the NutriBullet died, I did upgrade to a normal sized blender. It's still a Ninja, so it's not a fancy expensive one, but it also has a food processor bowl, which is kind of a lot to store, but
that was a process too when we had to go buy that thing.
Yeah.
Laura's like, it's got to do this and do this and do this. You literally whittle it down and it's like, look, this is the only thing that does like 9 out of the 10 things. Like, we're going to have to go for this one and like not have the others.
That's the other thing. When you're in a small space, you have to think about, like, I don't go out and buy things unless they are perfect for what I need it for. And because, you know, like when you're in a house, you can be like, oh, yeah, sure, that's on sale, I'll get that, whatever, you know, I have a place to put it. But you have to really think about it. Oh, that was the other thing about the Instant Pot, is that this company Melfi, it's a really weird name, but they came out with this lid that works on a stainless steel Instant Pot that's an air fryer.
Yeah, it just sits on top, and so now I get some air fried stuff.
Yeah, so
good.
Because it was only just this lid thing, I was like, okay, well, I'll try that out. You know, but I'm not going to get another appliance that's this big. That's not going to happen in here.
There's just there's no place to put it. Like, we even struggle with some of the things, like the Ninja sits underneath the kitchen table. Like, it's at our feet when we constantly. Pretty much all RVers have stuff stored under their dinette. Yeah. Like under the table part. Yeah. It's just there's stuff everywhere. Like we started accumulating like we did when we were in the house. So we're gonna have to go through a purge here again pretty soon. Yeah, we're gonna purge before we take off. Head out. Yeah. But another thing I was gonna talk about as far as like food and kitchen stuff is that, you know, even back in the house, I like to try a lot of different things and a lot of different cuisines. So, you know, I would have mushroom soy sauce and tamari and Bragg's, and you know, you'd have like 4 or 5 different types of soy sauce or oils. Like, you know, you'd have olive oil and canola oil and, you know, coconut oil, and you just have all of this stuff. And you were the spice queen, I remember too. You had a ton of still kind of a spice queen. Well, we have one drawer dedicated to spices, at least the small ones, but then also some of the big, where we carry bulk stuff, things that we eat a lot of. Yeah, because spices are kind of the backbone of making stuff delicious. So, but you know, so we've had to narrow it down. Now we just use Bragg's liquid aminos. And then what about oil? I don't really use oil anymore. We just have like a little bit, and it's a spray if we need it. Yeah.
So it sounds like, you know, it wasn't necessarily just like a huge detriment to pare down. It was just like planning and thinking smarter and just being like, all right, these are the things we use on a regular basis, and just shopping smarter. Yeah.
Yeah. So
we can't go to Costco for everything, right? You can't get. We cannot go out and buy the new huge box of Beyond Burgers, even though we're saving money doing that. We just don't have the space.
Yeah.
We can't go get the 50 pack of the Alpha chicken patties because there's
Where are you gonna put them?
literally no room.
Right.
Yeah, we can't eat that in one day.
But Costco still is useful, like dry goods, like especially during these times, or whenever we're like headed out into the wilderness. Like I got a big bag of brown rice. I got we buy I think it's 8 or 10 pounds of oats. Walnuts. I usually buy the big bag of walnuts that they have. Sometimes we buy their shelf-stable milks. So
things that we're like using every day.
Yeah, and that don't require refrigeration. Yeah.
That's good. So I know it's been just kind of hanging out in a parking lot for a while, but prior to that, you guys were traveling all over the place, taking really ridiculous adventures that we're all super jealous of. And you have a YouTube channel, Vegan RV YouTube channel, where you talk about those adventures, and you have a good following of just not even necessarily vegans, but like RVers, right? Like this is a whole like otherworld community of RVers.
Yeah. Yep. It's pretty crazy, like the mix of the two.
Yeah, I would say most of our followers on YouTube are RVers
versus vegans.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do they react to your vegan content?
I would say just like Facebook comments, like you get your people in there who are like, God, why do you keep showing vegan food? And why are you talking about vegan food? I thought you were an RV channel.
Did you see our name?
Yeah, exactly. You're just
Honestly,
like, come on now.
People have been better than I thought they would be and more interested than I thought they would be. So we've done a few things. How long ago was Quartzsite? I'm trying to think.
2 years.
2 years. Yeah, 2 years in January.
Mm-hmm.
Was the first place that we really, there was a big RV gathering and we did 2 different cooking demos. And a bunch of people came out, like one of them was all about tofu. I made 3 different tofu dishes, and people who had never ever eaten tofu tried it.
But like people that would trash talk tofu about, guys are going to get big boobs from eating tofu, right? It was that crowd, right? But what we found out is that most of the wives were more interested in the cooking, but the husbands would come along because we're all hanging out. Yeah, it's free food. And Laura would cook this stuff, and I'd go around and sample it to everybody. And all the guys were like, yes, I would totally eat this constantly. Like, and now we get pictures and, phone calls, texts from a lot of the people that we meet on the road. And they're like, hey man, we made this tonight. And like, they're showing like their tofu scramble. They're showing off like, their tempeh bacons and stuff like that. And we're just like, that is amazing. Yeah.
That is amazing. That's like a good, like low pressure touch, where you just go through and just share your experience and just be like, it's just good food. Why wouldn't you try just some good food every now and then?
Yeah. I think, I equate it and kind of like what we talk about whenever we go to speak at an RVing conference or whatever. We say, it's, to me, I equate it to, people who, eat like just normal hamburgers. It's people have their favorite spots. It's like you don't like the hamburger at every spot. What happens is they went to the Chinese restaurant and got a dish with tofu, and it was the soft tofu, and they're like, this tastes like slime, right? I don't want this. This is not. So they don't know that there's different types of tofu. They don't think outside they don't equate them liking the hamburger at one place and not liking it at other with like vegan type items, like a veggie burger. Like a veggie burger at one place is not the same as another, right? They're all different. So we've really tried to like open people's eyes and like get them to think. It's like, just try it, right? The worst thing is going to happen. You're not going to like it. Just get something else after that.
Yeah, a lot of people have preconceived notions of what vegan food is supposed to taste like. Oh, I don't like vegan food. I had something once. It was terrible. Well, an apple, what was it?
Yeah, exactly.
It was a vegan food that you didn't like. Like,
Exactly.
That's
And
good. Just opening people, just getting people to try something, I think is really important, and it just makes people more open to plant-based, a meal every
Well, I
night.
think the combination of us constantly showing all this delicious looking food that we're eating, on top of, on the other side, they've got their doctors telling them that they need to,
cut back on certain things.
Yeah.
Right.
So then they're like, oh, well, maybe I can try these Beyond Burgers, or maybe this Gardein would be good. Even in the second demo that we did at another event this past January, I made a stir fry and I put Gardein chicken strips in it. And people were like, oh yeah, these are really good. It's like, yeah, yeah, they are.
We've come such a long way. I'm like, you guys.
You don't even know.
Yeah, exactly. All the new.
People have to eat seitan in a can from the Seventh-day Adventist store. They don't know.
Exactly.
They don't know.
Right, exactly. I mean, I'll still jam on some nutritional yeast mac and cheese.
Oh yeah.
Don't get me wrong, right? But cheese has come a long way. Like all the, all the different substitutes.
People.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all vegan. Yeah, you guys missed out on a whole.
Yeah. When soy milk was always really tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's getting people to think outside, maybe, when they were younger, especially because like a lot of the RVers, I'll say, is like it's an older crowd. They're older than us. And probably in the 70s they had their friends who were super hippies and like, yeah man, try this like tempeh that I made, and it probably tasted terrible, who knows, right? And they instantly get turned off to that thing. So we're just trying to open them back up and just go, look man, I'm eating it, it's not terrible. And if they see you eat it, then they're more likely to try it, especially like if we're cooking, then they also kind of are like, we put all the effort into it, let's try it. And then they eat it and they're like, oh, this is delicious. It's like, yes, it's all about the spices, and it's all in the preparation of whatever you're making. Like,
yeah,
you just don't make things super plain. You always spice it up, and it always takes on that flavor. So anyway, it's been cool to see the transition of some people. Like from some people on the road, like they've transitioned to a full vegan diet. We have people that they've started doing like the meatless Mondays now. So it's been all over the place, but
that's amazing.
Definitely
just opening people's eyes to things. I know
exactly.
as vegans who come from like not so much a health standpoint as from an animal rights standpoint, we all want people just to stop eating animals, but right. We also know that just getting people in the door and tasting something and realizing that a plant-based meal can be delicious and it's something they can incorporate, it's going to make a difference. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Speaking of being like health food vegans versus not health food vegans and stuff, and also because we mentioned at the beginning that we're old vegans in several senses of the word.
Yep.
Things that like some people who may have been vegan a year or 2 years may not know is if you're vegan for 10 years or more, well, the good thing is you still live. None of us are in the hospital with protein deficiencies. Yay.
Right. Right.
But the other thing is when you get in your 40s and 50s, certain things happen just like every other person. We're not immortal. Even if we eat much healthier foods in a lot of cases, we can still get high blood pressure. We can still even have high cholesterol, because even though vegan foods don't have cholesterol in it, some people are genetically predisposed to high cholesterol. Some people can have heart problems because it's genetic, not necessarily because, they're slamming down hamburgers every day. And that makes me think of my dear friend Laura here, who scared us all very much in 2018. Yes. And she went and had a heart attack at age 48, just out of the blue. Being vegan for how long at that point?
Probably about 15 years.
And you were active. I mean, weren't you bike riding and doing?
Yeah, so like I've never been the total junk food vegan.
We are complete opposites in eating habits. Like I'm now turned more onto like the whole food plant-based type food, but like even when we first started dating, she is very particular about how things are cooked. She's never used a lot of oil. She's never used a lot of salt.
We didn't deep fry at home, you know.
We did at the bakery, but
I also didn't really eat that stuff. That's
Yeah.
the thing is,
She's not tempted by the Monte Cristo that we were making in the back. She was like, I don't even want that. And I would destroy them. I'm like, yes.
So, are you going to do this to me and remind me of the food that you still-
So, but she would be like, maybe I'll have a bite, but I'm not. She wasn't never like super into it. Even like, a lot of the times when we go out to eat, she was just like, doesn't want the French fries, would always get the salad, or she's always very careful about what she eats. And then
yeah, so it just kind of goes to show you that, while you might do better eating vegan than if you weren't, like what would happen if I had been slamming hamburgers?
Yeah. What would that have looked like? Yeah,
who knows? Because when it happened to me, my cholesterol was not high. It was like 130 total. My triglycerides weren't great, but they weren't in a danger zone. And I've never had high blood pressure, not before, not after. So, now my dad, he had his first heart attack when he was, I think, 45, and then died at 58 as related to another heart incident. But so, things can still happen. Just don't think just because you go vegan that automatically everything is magically going to be healed in your body.
Exactly.
It definitely helps.
Yeah, it helps, but it's not a magic pill. And I know there's a really good book out there that the nutritionist, the dietitian Jenny Messina put out with JL Fields called Even Vegans Die, I think it's called. I'm gonna look that up and make sure I'm saying the right title, but it caused you to make some changes, right? Like you're starting to you're doing now more whole food, plant-based. You mentioned not doing oil. What's that look like now for you both?
So
I feel better. I'll just say that, like I feel better, especially now that I've been exercising a little bit.
Plus now that we've been eating almost exclusively in the RV, which means we've been eating almost exclusively whole food, plant-based. Kevin has just naturally started losing weight. Plus on top of he's been working out. But I think most of us know that it's hard to like overcome what's going in your mouth with exercise. So the more like I don't use oil when cooking at all. I don't use refined sugars. And I haven't, I try to cook mostly without salt in the cooking process and then just add it at the end. I find that you still get the flavor from it. And then it doesn't keep just like stacking up. So if you get the canned beans that don't have salt in them, and the same with the tomatoes and all that kind of stuff, then you're going to end up with a lot less sodium than if you didn't pay attention to that and just kept layering on the salt. Because you're still going to add salt on the end, because for some reason the salt that's in all that canned stuff, you feel like you can't taste it. So.
And then some of it you just overcome with other spices, right? You just like, if anybody watched our video the other night, what were we cooking? Oh, we cooked tacos. We made tacos. So she made the TVP. She put in all the seasonings, and I was like, it's still missing a little bit of something. She literally just added the tiniest bit of salt, and like all these flavors just like exploded. But had she added salt in the beginning, it's like now you're trying to over spice to overcompensate for the amount of sodium or the amount of salt that's in the food. It just it's just a different way of cooking. And I'll say I'm not missing anything. Obviously I'm still all here, right? I'm not starving. The food is still delicious. Like, I don't even notice a difference. And like, I'm big about food. I love food. And
you and I have always had that in common. We celebrate meals. We celebrate,
people.
Dude, this is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad you have
Loaf-a-palooza.
I'm not gonna lie, I also love food, which is a problem, because I just can't. I just can't. So, I have, when we go out, I'll still get some things. I don't, but I also, when I go out, try to make the best choices that I can and don't get the deep fried thing or,
Yeah, we haven't been to Solvi yet. I'm still craving it, but they were like...
And if anybody's ever seen that video of how the mac and cheese is made,
so much oil. On the other, we love you, but we know how much oil we're putting in that.
Oh my goodness!
It's sometimes food,
Yeah.
Being at Atlanta Veg Fest when everybody's
it's so delicious. Though.
And the Philly cheesesteak with the sauce.
Oh man, I don't know why that is not like a staple on the menu. I just don't understand it. It's so delicious.
I get it once a year at Fest. It's great.
Right?
But yes, it's delicious, but oily. So I guess what we're saying to baby vegans is, the longer you do this, you're gonna have to eventually start watching your salt, watching your oil, but it can still be delicious and amazing and really good for you.
I'll just keep your family history in mind as you move through life, and try and get regular checkups and keep an eye out for. I mean, literally, there was nothing that would have jumped out and said you're going to have a heart attack, as far as my health goes. So, you may be like me, and it may just happen, and that sucks. But there are still some things you can do to your diet to, make it better for your body and lower your numbers, and hopefully, be around longer.
Did you follow any particular program at first, or did you just combine different, did you look at Dr. Greger's sites? What did you look into?
I looked at Dr. Esselstyn. I looked at, he has a Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease book. Eat to Live, Dr. Greger, and I'm trying to think of anybody else. Then I kind of made a conglomerate of it, because some of them are so low fat. Dr. Esselstyn, I think, is so low fat that I just I feel like I couldn't get there. Right. Especially when you need some nuts and seeds to help with absorption of certain vitamins and minerals.
Right.
So I'm not slathering peanut butter on sandwiches or anything like that, but I do put walnuts in my breakfast, and sometimes we use almond butter. Almond butter and tahini have been my the thing that I lean to give me a little bit of fat in sauces to make them more satisfying. So you have to find something that works for you in a vegan lifestyle in general. If you're going in it for the long haul, you really have to make it work for your lifestyle, for your RV lifestyle, and just what you know of yourself. And so whenever someone is newly vegan and they jump on a bandwagon of some specific type of thing, like raw. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with any of these things, but when someone goes all in on one type of restrictive diet, when they've been not even vegan at first, I think that's a recipe for failure, because you're going to start missing certain textures and certain flavors and umami, and the oil and fat gives you a certain mouthfeel, and it gives you satiety and things like that. So finding kind, and there are people who make raw work. I'm just using that as an example of an extreme change. So you were already vegan for 15 years and you had to make this change, so you had to make it work for you. You're I can't cut out olive oil, so I'm going to add walnuts to my oatmeal, and so I think that's good advice, is just kind of find something that works for you to make you stick with it. That's what's going to
Yeah, we've also seen, we've had some friends that have tried, going vegan for 30 days, and they come back to us and they're like, oh man, I felt like I wasn't eating enough food. I'm like, okay, so what did you eat? They literally weren't eating enough food. I'm like, you can't sustain yourself on rice crackers or, where saltines or some shit that you're eating. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I knew it was going to happen. I just didn't know if it was going to be for me.
But they, they're just like, I feel terrible. And I'm like, because you're not eating food, man. You're like, you literally went from like eating a fair amount of food to like literally restricting yourself to like stuff I wouldn't even eat, right? You can't sustain yourself on saltines and rice crackers and, with peanut butter on top. It's not healthy. Like you got to do something else.
And meat and cheese and refined carbs are all very like dense, and they satisfy us, but they also don't take up as much space in your stomach as like a full salad would. So you have to eat a lot more of a salad than you would. You can't just eat a little side salad and be as satisfied as you would be with a hamburger.
No. Yeah. So it's we see it all out and about.
You guys have launched like speaking of food, like you've always talked about food on Vegan RV on your YouTube and in your blog and stuff, but you're launching a separate spoon-fed newsletter. Tell me about that. What's that going to look like?
Yeah, so we have a community already kind of around Vegan RV, and some of them are interested in the food, some of them are super interested in the food, and some of them are not interested at all. So I was trying to figure out a way to kind of separate out the people who are there for the RV and the travel stuff from the people who might like that too, but really want to know about the food stuff. So I launched this spoon-fed newsletter. It's spoonfed.substack.com. And there I'm going to, go more in depth about the food and give recipes and tips. And it's going to be geared more towards people who, are new to eating this way, or live in small spaces, looking for easy things to do. I mean, that's all going to be built in, because anything I do is going to be in the RV. So
you're touting is going to be simple and small for the RV,
right? Yeah. So I try to find recipes that are that don't require too much equipment, and that's why I've kind of been on the TVP kick lately, because you can kind of rehydrate it, mix it with some stuff, and then it becomes meatballs, or it becomes a lot of different things without having to have a food processor to make burger patties or whatever it is. So so that's kind of what that's going to be all about, and we will continue in our travel stuff to show people, oh hey, look at this that we're eating, because we think that still is, I would say to us, that's our type of activism, right? Yeah. We're not the protesters, like we're not good at it, but what we are good at is explaining to people how good food is, right? Exactly. That there are alternatives, right? And they can see me, and I'm not some 80-pound scrawny somebody that just looks like their bones are gonna break. Like, I'm a big dude, and I love food, and I'm very passionate about it, and I can talk to people on their level about trying new things, and kind of getting that point across. So that's where I would say, like, we'll still continue a lot of the vegan food and showing it on the channel. We just want to split off, like, the people that are more hardcore and are really interested in taking it to the next level. That's where we kind of want to put that information out. So
that's cool. And so it's called Spoon-Fed. They can find out more about that where?
Spoonfed.substack.com.
Yeah.
Cool. Tell us where we can find Vegan RV. I know on Instagram you're Vegan RVer, right?
Yes.
Yep. RVR. And,
same on Twitter. It's veganrv.com. That's the thing, is Vegan RV was taken, so all of our socials are Vegan RVR.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then on YouTube, if you search Vegan RV, you'll find it. But if you go to veganrv.com, you can get to all of those things. It's all linked from the homepage. So is the newsletter. The travel newsletter is on there as well. So you can get to anything. We've got recipes on there. We've got information about our travel.
Yeah, and then we encourage people to reach out to us. Like if they see that we're in their area, like we love going out and meeting people and having a bite to eat.
Not right now, but
yeah, not right now. Obviously, in the past it was a lot more.
Yeah.
But like going out and having a bite to eat, or sitting out and talking, having a cup of coffee. Like we love doing that stuff.
If you're watching this 6 months from now.
Yeah.
For people watching this later, we're in the middle of a global pandemic. It is May of 2020. So yeah, everything sucks right now. But
exactly.
You know, at least you guys are healthy and you have your place, you're parked, you're safe, and we're grateful for that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Especially this one.
Yes, for sure. We love Laura and we love Catherine.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for coming on. This is, like I said, the first like digital content that Atlanta Veg Fest has attempted to put out, and we're excited to talk to you guys and to other cool people within our vegan community, just to give people some good tips and things to get us through the year, since unfortunately we had to cancel Atlanta Veg Fest for 2020. Because of the pandemic, because it takes so long for us to put Veg Fest together. It's a year in the making. So even though it's, 6 months away, 5 months away, we can't like wait until September and then suddenly put it together if we're going to be allowed to put together a large event indoors. There are too many unknowns. Yeah. So we're moving it to 2021. Yeah. If you're so inclined, if someone is so inclined out there who wishes to donate to Veg Fest, we have atlantavegfest.com/support. There's a little donor box there. If you donate $5 or more, we'll send you a little goodie. Right now we have these really cute gift bags from Herbivore that they donated for our vegan prom this year that we had to do coronavirus. It has a couple of cute pins and stickers in it and a postcard, and it's adorable. And I will mail you one with a thank you if you donate $5 or more on our website, atlantavegfest.com/support. And thank you guys for coming on. Love you both. Glad you're with us. And thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for all you do for Atlanta and the vegan community. Like we go into so many towns and they just don't have their stuff together. Yeah. And knowing what you've done over the years for the Atlanta vegan community, even though we're not Atlanteans anymore, aliens, I just wanted to say thank you for all you do. You work really hard at it, so thanks.
It's really nice of you to think that I've got my stuff together. Thank you.
Don't we all? I mean, come on.
No. That's okay. So thank you guys. Love you both.
Love you too.